So this is your Power BI. So Power BI is actually used mainly for reports and generating insights. It's used for your analysis. Basically, that's just what you use it for. But there's something called ETL, like I said before. That ETL is probably, as a data analyst, most of your time, you spend most of your time performing cleaning, data cleaning, most of your time on the job. Like 80% of your time as a data analyst is spent, because if you're working for a company, for example, you're working for Jumia gets tons of orders every day. So they have large number of data. They give you large number of data to work on. And you probably need to clean this data, because there could be somebody that gave incomplete details. There could be someone that gave wrong details. There could be somebody that, please just turn off your mute yourself, okay? I want everybody to mute. Okay, Engineer Emmanuel, please. So, uh, you you receive this data. You can't just put them into Power BI, because Power BI cannot clean data. Now, but Power BI has another tool inside of it that's called Power Query. So Power Query is used to perform data cleaning. And you can also do some couple of, okay, maybe in our next class, we're going to go into DAX fully. But we are going to touch a little bit of it here anyway. So Power BI is mainly used for writing your reports, like generating your reports. That is creating your dashboard, all of that, doing your analysis, and then giving your insights. So this is the framework of data. When you open your Power BI, Power BI has two different versions, or what do I call it? Version or framework. You have the Power BI desktop. You have the Power BI. Okay, I'm just going to meet you again. So when you're muted, just stay muted. Don't unmute yourself. So Power BI has the Power BI desktop and the Power BI service. These are two different Power BI. So the Power BI desktop is this particular one you have on your system. Please, do we all have Power BI installed in our system?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, fine.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So good. The one you have installed in your system is the Power BI desktop. All right. I think they restored my lights. Excuse me. Let me switch to light so that I can use the router. Okay. All right. So this is the Power BI desktop, the one you installed on your desktop. Then the Power BI service, the one you have online. That is where you publish your work. So that's where you have like a folder called workspace. We are still going to get to all of these things. That is, if you want to collaborate, if you want to share your work with people and all of that, you need to upload it to Power BI service. Power BI service simply means Power BI online. So in a later part of this program, we're going to get to it. But at this moment, we're going to be making use of just Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop has everything you need to work with. And when you launch your Power BI desktop, this is pretty much what it is. I believe you've all gone through all of these things. This is just pretty much like your Excel. Here you have your home, you have your insert and all of that. So when we begin to use it, you're going to be seeing the function of all of them. But all these are your design tool, the tool you're going to be, creating your dashboard with. Then here you have your filter. The same way you have filter in Excel, you can apply filter to, whatever you're working on. Then here you have your visualization where you have all the charts. So when we get to visualization, we're going to look at each of these charts, how to use them, when to use them, the way to tell your stories with each of these charts, because they all have meaning. You can't just pick any chart you like and use. That's definitely a reason why you may want to use a particular chart that you're using. So we're going to look at that. Then you also have your data pane here. This data pane is where you have your tables. All right. So at this left side, you have this report view, which is your dashboard where you write your report and all that. Then you have your table. This is where you're going to have all the tables when you import your data into this Power BI. This is where you're going to have your tables. You know, you can interact with your table, check out the data type, check out if it is clean or not, and all that. Then you have your model. This is the schematic. Your model, you have your different relationships. So when you're working with, we are going to be looking at different rules, the rules of data storage, the rules of data relationship, and all of this. So this is where we are going to be looking at that. This is where you're going to connect your tables. You have the facts table, dimension table, and all of that. So your tables, different tables that you're importing into Power BI must be related. They must be related before you can use them to work or to write a report or to do analysis. And this is where it happens. All right. And when you import data by default, Power BI automatically connects this table for you. This is how it does that. If you go to your file and you go to your options, and then you go to your options here, it's going to open. Let's wait for it to open a bit. So by default, Power BI has been configured to, help you load data. I see where you say load data. If you click on it, you can see relationship. So import relationship from data source on first load. Update or delete relationship when refreshing data. Auto detect new relationship after data is loaded. So this part, you may want to turn on these things. Make sure they are turned on so that when you load data, automatically Power BI detects the kind of relationship they have and connects it for you. It helps you, it helps save your, save you the stress of having to deal with data relationship. But we are still going to do data modeling through data relationship in detail so that when you're working as a data analyst, even though Power BI helps you do all of these connections, you still need to understand what happened on the underground so that in case there happen to be an issue when you're working or you're writing you're doing your analysis, there happens to be an issue or a relationship issue, maybe two tables you're trying to pick out variables from or metrics from are not working well. So you want to know that there's definitely a problem with the connection or the relationship. Then you want to know how to troubleshoot your data. All right. So you need to understand how these tables are connected. These are some of the things we'll be touching on. Um, and all of that. So let me just let's load data here and start with what we have today, which is data cleaning in detail. I think you've done that already, but I'm still going to touch on it because I'm not sure how deep you went, so that we'll be sure of what we're doing. All right. So look at this now. Look at this table I have here. This is your typical Excel file. So there are different kind of file types that you're going to be getting. Most of the times, the files that are going to be given to you would mostly be an Excel file. That is the data set that will be given to you to work on. It will mostly be Excel file or CSV files, whichever one but most of the time it's Excel file because they get this data using Excel forms and all that. So when you're given an Excel file, you need to, look at it before loading it into your Power BI. So here we have all of these columns. And remember that number one rule of storage or number one rule of creating a table is that your table, each of the column must contain the same variable. The variables in each column must be the same. That is, here you have the order number, this order ID. Everything here must be order ID. You cannot come here and now have customer ID in place of order ID. That is number one rule of clean data. Then here you have customer name. Everything here, let's just highlight this and then double tap it to expand everything. So everything under customer's name must be a name, the name variable, which is text. You cannot come here and now have customer phone number under one of these cells. It is unclean data. All right. So sometimes you may even have it maybe because these things are not filled manually, right? You know that. So these are maybe if you buy something from ShopRite, when you want to pay, they will scan that thing that you bought. So once they scan it, it automatically carry the information of that product. That is how these tables are filled up. It will just automatically fill up here. When the next customer buys, it will fill up here. When the next customer buys, it fills up here. So sometimes if they maybe do a survey and then they give you that data from a survey to work on, it's possible that somebody may fill some data wrongly or may not even fill some part of the data. That will become a problem. All right. So it will now result to maybe instead of having customer name here, you will now have maybe the phone number or something like that. Instead of having city here, you now have maybe one of the customer will put their name here. So that becomes unclean data. So one of the number one rule of a clean data is that I hope my internet is okay. I'm trying to access. Can you hear me, please? Can you see my screen? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
All right. So one of the rule of a clean data is that you must have each of the column must contain the same variables, the same data. All right. So let's look at this table. Here we have, I think this is like a customer table, like a sales table. Yeah, this is a sales table because you have the order number. These are different orders that were placed by different customers. All right. Have you guys done anything about foreign keys, primary keys and foreign keys? Hmm?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
fine.
but
Okay.
we saw it in SQL.
We saw it in Cisco.
Cisco training, yeah.
It's
Okay.
now Cisco class, primary key of foreign keys.
Okay. Okay, fine. All right, no problem. We'll do all of that. So this is called primary key. One of the rule of primary key, of course, they are unique. They cannot repeat. All right. So, but then you have the order. These are the order placed by different customers. These are the customer ID. These are different customer ID. So this is a different customer that placed this order, and this is the customer's name. This is a female from New York City in USA, and this is the date that they placed this order. You guys did data type, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So this is the date. This is a date, but it's not in the right format. This is saved. This one now is saved as integers instead of dates. So this data is not clean. So let's say I want to clean it here in Excel. I can just change it. All right. Let me just take it down. Okay, no. I can just clean it here if I want. Okay. Let's take it down. All right, let me just highlight it down normally like this. I don't know why it's not picking everything for me. So this is supposed to be date, and we are seeing it as numbers, integers here. So we need to just change it here. I'll still show you how to easily do that in Power BI. So I'll just come here, then I'll come to my home, and I'll just go to this general and change it to what? Short date or long date. You have short date and long date. Short date is, see the way it is written here, just write it in figures, 2309. Then long date is write the date, the month, like Wednesday, 23rd September 2015. That's the difference. So most of the times you're using short date. So you just change it to short date and it comes out as dates. So then here you have the product, you have the quantity they bought, the selling price, the cost price, the total, and then the profits, all of that. So we are going to be moving this thing now, but you can see that this thing, then there's another table here, the table 2. This table 2 is, I think it's the same information, order table, customer table, and all of that. So I think this one is a continuation because this one stopped at, see, at 350. This stopped at 350, then here's 351. So it's a continuation of this one. So do you know how to merge tables? How to merge two tables together?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so what we're going to do is just to merge them instead of having two tables. But first, let's just move it like that in Excel. Let's move it like that to Power BI and see how we can actually do that in Power BI. So I'm just going to go to my Power BI, then go to get data. Then we are going to get Excel. These are different kind of files you can load. Like I told you, you can even load file from online, from the web, from all these different sources. But most of the times you're loading Excel file or CSV file. So I think that data type is in. Let me. Okay. Okay, other 1 and 2.
Engineer Emmanuel, mute yourself, please.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll mute you. Okay. So when you load data like this, it is going to load up the both tables, okay? So you choose the table you want to load. You want to load this one. It's going to give you a preview of what your table looks like. That's what you're going to see here. Then you also select this one. So we want to load all of them. So now the thing is, you have the option of just loading them if you're sure, if you've gone through this table and you're sure that your table is okay, that you don't have any problem, like it's clean, your data is clean, something like that. Then you just load it straight. It will load it into Power BI, and then you start your analysis. You start doing whatever you want to do with the table. But then, if you're not sure, you can't just always use this load. You can't always look like now you have this one. Look, here you have this one, but in the Excel file, it was not there. So probably while it was loading, it created more tables. That's the reason why you don't really want to always load it. So you always transform. This transform is to move this data into Power Query. I told you that in Power BI, we have Power Query. Power Query helps you to do your data cleaning. That's basically what Power Query does, what you use it for most of the times. So we click on Transform Data because we want to clean that data before we bring it to Power BI, all right, for analysis. So it's going to take a little while to load into Power Query. Then it launches you into your Power Query, and Power Query is just another different, just similar to Power BI. On top of this place, you have your home, your transform, your add column, and all of these things. We're going to use most of these things when you start doing DAX, you know. Then you have all of these things here too. You have new source, you can get new data, recent work, enter data, and all of these things. Then you have this side, you have the tables you've imported. All of them will be listed here. If there are 4, if there are 5, all of them. So you have the work that you brought in, the tables here. It's going to show you the table, the content of the table that you have here. I don't know why this thing is not moving. Okay. I don't know if I can hide it. Then you're going to have the table. Each of these table you can see. To change to the other one, you can see this one. You can see this one. Then again, then look at this right side. If you look at the properties side, under here you have the applied step. So this applied step is going to give you every single thing you've done. Every single thing you've done is going to just list it for you that you've done this one or you've made this move. You've made this move. You've made this one. You've done this one. That's what the applied test does. If you can see, even though we haven't done anything, all we did was just to load this data, but it has given us 4 steps already. It means that we got this data from a source. That is, we clicked on a source and got it, that from Excel source. Then it navigated from Power BI to Power Query. That's the navigation it's giving you here. Then there's something called promoted header. Most of the times when you load data, it is going to automatically apply this particular step for you. And what it means is that just like in Excel, the first column of Excel, the first row of an Excel file is automatically what? The heading or the title row. So it is the same thing here in Power Query. The first row is usually your heading, automatically your heading. But sometimes when you load it and the Power BI does not recognize it as a heading, You have to do it by yourself by coming to click on use first row as heading. Once you click on this, then it will automatically, okay, let's undo this. Let's undo this one. So anyone you want to do, you just undo it. So you see, I've undone that particular step. Let me also undo it here. I don't know why this thing is, maybe my network is not so good. Okay. So because inside Power Query, your control Z doesn't work, I think this is just going to be your control Z, right? So navigation. So you can see that this did not take our first column as our row, our heading, sorry. It just say column 1, column 2, column 3, it just automatic because it knows that this is supposed to have a heading. So we gave it column 1, column 2, column 3. But by default, we are supposed to have our first column as row so that when we are performing anything calculation or whatever we are doing, it is not going to affect that first row. So what we are going to do is just to come here where you see data type, any, then you see use first row as column. So you just click on it, then use first row as your column. Use first row as your header. All right, so you just click on it. Then it's going to automatically turn your first row to the header, and that is going to report here. Then anything you do will be reported in your apply step. Anything you want to undo, you just simply cancel it just like we did, and it will take you back, and all of that. So since we know that this column and this column is a continuation of this one, so maybe the first thing we want to do is when you come into Power Query, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that your first column, so what we're doing now is ETL, data cleaning, right? Extract is E. We have extracted data into Power Query. Transform is what we are doing now. After transforming, then we load it back into Power BI. That is ETL. Now, we've done the first row. So the second thing we are going to do is to see if these two tables, sometimes you have multiple tables here, but since they are continuation of each other, I don't think they should be separate table. So we want to merge the two of them together and make sure that they are one table. So we just want to carry everything here and put as a continuation to this one, just put it under here to continue as 351, since this one stopped at 350. All right. And then to do that, make sure you're on the one you want to append the other one. That's something we'll call append. That's something we'll call merge. If you look here, you see merge queries. If you look here, you see append queries. So merge queries is when you want to merge, like you want to add it to continuation. Like this is column, for example, order. Maybe you now have something like you want to put order date. Then you want to create a new column and add another existing column to it. That's when you use merge. But append is when you want to put a continuation under. So what you are appending, the both of them must have the same number of columns, right? So we click here, then we'll go to append, click on append. You're going to see append queries. Click on append queries. Then it's going to bring up this dialog box for you, where it is going to ask you how many tables you want to append. Now, I have just 2 tables here, so it's just 2. If you have more than 2, I don't know who this guy is. I think I'll just mute everybody. But they keep on muting themselves. Roots, you of all people. It's not even muting. Okay, let me just mute all. I've muted everybody. Gideon. Lab participants. Okay, no. You cannot unmute yourself now. Right. So I've gotten it right. Nobody can unmute themselves. I don't know. Someone is still unmuting themselves. Who could that be? I swear everybody here is muted. Okay, so let's proceed. So I'm trying to append this table 2 into table 1. All right. So it's going to ask you how many tables you want to append. If it is just 2 tables like we have here, then we'll leave it at 2. But if it is more than 2, up to 3 or more, then we want to choose this one. Then inside here, you're going to select the tables you're appending. But here we just have 2 tables. So we are already on the one that we want to append the other one to. So you just click here to select the one you want to append to, which is table 2. It is showing you that table 1 is the current table you are on. Then just select table 2, then click on OK. Then if you scroll down, you're going to see that it has been appended. It has now added from 350. You can see we now have 351 to 300 and, to the last one. So we have appended the table. And then in the apply step, you can see append query. It is there. So since we appended this one to this one, the next thing we want to do is when we want to load it, we are not going to load this one. We are going to load only this one because whatever is there is already inside here, right? So we're going to see how we'll do that when we get there. So then the next thing we want to do here now is to clean this data and make sure that all the data types are correct. All the data types are correct. So let's do that. Now, these are numbers. So they should be whole numbers, this other number. So, but maybe I don't want this other ID. I want to write it as other ID. I'll just double click and rename it if I want to. So I want to rename this one other ID, put it like this. The customer ID, I also want to rename it customer ID so that it will be easier to understand. Then the customer's name, these are okay. I think these ones are okay. I like the way the names are. Let me see if other ones. Country, other dates. Other dates, yeah. Other dates is okay. Then we have product ID. I want to name it, just rename it. Just double click and rename it. Then we have the quantity, the selling price, the cost price, selling price. I want to make sure it's renamed so that when I'm not there, any other person can read my data. All right. Selling price. Then TSP. What does that mean? TSP, I don't know what it means. So I guess it's total selling price. So I just want to make sure total selling price. Good. So I want to have it like this. So it means that this one is total cost price, I guess. Total cost price. Then profit. So that's it. Now, another thing you want to see here is that if you look at all of them, if you look at here, you can see this green bar. This green bar here is showing you this green bar. What it means is that it will look through this column and make sure that everything here is the same. Just like I told you before, that one of the rules of storage is that every variable in a column must be the same. All right. So if, for example, here you have something that is not number, then this is going to turn red. You can see it's going to turn red. If you have here now, you're supposed to have names here, but you now have, I think, text. For text, it's definitely going to accept, whatever you give it because it can accommodate both numbers and letters. Then for female, male, if this is enum, it is supposed to accept just female and male. If you now put any other thing here, this is going to turn red, showing you that there's an error you need to check in this column. So we don't have any such errors. So all our bars here are green. That is fine. We now move to the next phase, which is cleaning the data, making sure that all the data types are correct. So let's start doing that. We can see that this column contains numbers, digits, and the data type is what? Numbers, whole number here. So this is correct. Then we'll come to the next table, the next column. We can see that this is also integer, which is whole number. So it is correct. The data type is correct. Then this is text. The data type is correct. Text. So this is supposed to be text as well. The data type is ABC. It is correct as text. Then the next one is city. City is text. The data type is correct. It is text, right? Then the next one is country. Country is supposed to be text, right? The data type is correct. It is text. All right. That's good. So the next one is date. Dates. Now, Power BI has seen this thing as dates. It loaded it as normal digits. All right. And it has given it as a number data type. It gave it a whole number data type. And that is wrong, because if we, for example, want to know the total number of sales we made over a period of time, maybe a period of 1 year or 2 months or 3 months, we need dates to work with. And we cannot work with this thing. It's going to give us wrong information. All right. So we need to change this data type here to what? Dates, because Power BI has chosen wrongly for us. All right. So we just click here and then go to dates. You can see date, you can see date time. If you want date time, you can change it to date time. That's if you want to see the date and the time. But we don't want that. We want just only date. Then you click on this dates. It's going to change it automatically to date for you. Then let's proceed. Here is the products. The products, okay. So these are the names of the products, and we have it as text. So whenever you have in a column, you have text and number together, both Excel and Power BI will automatically see them as what? Text. All right. So this is correct. You're seeing it as text. So the next one is here in the quantity. Quantity is numbers, so it's whole number. It is correct. Then let's look at the price. Okay, can someone look at the price and tell us what data type the price should be? Did you say my network is bad? Hello. Okay, currency, that's fine. All right, thank you. Thank you, Abby. All right, yeah, currency, that's cool. So this is price. It's not going to be numbers. So we're going to change this to currency, of course, fixed decimal. And it's going to change that. The same thing for cost, fixed decimal. The same thing for total price, fixed decimal. The same thing for total price, fixed decimal. Then the profits is fixed decimal. So here we'll just have this column 15 and column 16 that was added. I think we don't have any value here. It's useless. It's totally useless. We don't need it. So what we do is to remove this column. So we can click on it. We can click the two of them together, highlight both of them. And another thing you need to know is that you can actually move your column. You can just drag it and move it to anywhere you want. If you want to have it here, you can move it here. You can move it around, and all that. But we don't want that. So I'll bring it back to where I pick it up from. Then I want to delete this column. So I'll just come to here that you have remove column. All right. So you just click on remove column. Then that is gone. That is gone. If I wanted to remove any row, I'll use remove row. Okay. But here I want to remove column. I'll just come back here, remove this column. It is gone. So right now we have very clean data. Data is cleaned. Very, very clean. So we can now move it to Power BI to start working. And to do that, we'll come to this apply and what is it called? Close and apply. So, but before we close and apply, we can see that we no longer need this table. So we don't want to load this, because if we load it now, it's still going to bring this table to our Power BI, but we don't want to load it. So what we'll do is just to enable this one. If you click on it and then right click, you're going to come down here to see enable load. It is enabled. So you just click on it to enable it. You can see that it is italic now. It has bent somehow. So it means you are not loading this one. When you load this data now, this one is not going to load. Okay. You also have an option of loading it together. And then when you get there, you can hide it. You can hide it inside Power BI so that you won't be seeing it. But instead of doing hide and seek, let's just unload it so that it doesn't load at all. Okay. So we come here, if you click here, you can see these three options. You can either close this Power Query and everything you've done is not going to apply on Power BI. Or you can apply it and still have this one opened the way it is opened now. But there's no point leaving it open. It's a waste of time. So just close and apply. I'll choose the first one. Then it's going to take a little while to bring in, to load up that data. So as you can see, it is loading both tables, but it is creating connection for model. Like I told you, it automatically creates connection. So assuming you have multiple tables, this is how it's going to create that connection. But however, it is loading the data inside other one, and it is not loading for other two because we did not choose other two. So it loaded all the rows, 500 rows in other one alone. And if you look at the data pane, let's see, it is only other one that will come. Other two is gone, the other table, because of the unloading we did. So you can open it and see all the columns we have here, everything complete. And we can now begin to, perform your calculations. So all these ones that have all this sign, summation sign, means that they have numbers in it. They have numbers or currency in it, and you can perform calculations on them. That's the meaning of this sign. And then this one is dates, and then these other ones means that they are just text. You can't really perform anything on them. And that is it about data cleaning. That's pretty much it. So I want to take questions, and then let's do, before I do the data modeling, I didn't actually bring in table that will allow us to do data modeling because I needed to explain some things. I think we are supposed to end this class by 10, right? We started by 8:30, so it should be by 9:30. It's supposed to be, I don't know, how long does your class last? Is it 2 hours or 1 hour? Hmm? Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, 2 hours. Okay, fine. So we are ending by this is 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. Okay, we still have time. So can we briefly take questions if there's any before now going into data modeling? Because I'll need to explain foreign keys and all that. So if you have questions, just raise up your hands and I'll see you and unmute you. We'll just use like 5 minutes to take questions, if there's any. Is there any questions, please? Okay. Go light. All right. You can unmute.
All right, thank you, sir. So, as far, so I have my question is, um, or let's say you are working on a data set, and then, um, i- in that data set, you just found out that, like what you were explaining initially, that in a column, if it's a customer ID column,
Mm,
um, another thing that is not customer ID should not be in that column.
mm,
Now, let's say you are doing something, and then you have a situation whereby that thing occurred. Let's say you have under country or under state, you have a particular, let's say we have under state, you have New York, and then that New York, instead of being just one New York, like as one word, and stay under city, it now separated itself. Let's say you have New and then you have York under another state. And then that makes the whole row to adjust to the right or shift to the right by maybe one column. So when you see that situation now, how do you, and it doesn't just appear on one case, like on just a row. We have maybe many rows happening. So when you see something like that, how do you bring back, make the adjustment so that everything gets back to normal?
Okay, so if you're already here in your Power BI and then you now discover that you needed to, do something, you needed to add something or do a more further cleaning, you can actually go back to your Power Query from here. So you just come to your home and then you're going to see transform. You're going to see where you have transform. You click on it, and then that takes us back to Power Queries to answer Mr. Light the question he just asked. So he's asking if we have in a table, we have maybe this is male. This is supposed to be male. Or let me say this is city. You're supposed to have Tokyo here. But maybe what you have here is now Aba, right? Is that what you mean? Mr. Light, you need to be on mute now. Let's sort your question so that I know what I'm answering. Hello, Mr. Light? Hello? Hello? Mr. Light, please unmute. Mr. Light? I think he has gone off. I don't know. Okay, let's take Mr. Oluwaseyi Emmanuel. Please unmute.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for your detailed explanation. We really appreciate your kind
Yeah,
gesture, sir.
you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Now, I was about to ask. Thank God you're on the table. All right. I was to ask that, for instance, in the rows, like where your cursor is on the rows, on the column city. If peradventure that place instead of Tokyo, then we have none. Then it read none. Do you get, sir? It read none. Either there or any other places in the cell or row or column. What can we do to that?
To put the
Because
Tokyo that is supposed to be
yes,
there, right?
yes,
Okay.
and we don't know if it is Tokyo that should be there or not. We are not sure because we are not the one that gathered the data. But we just find out that it is none. Because, for instance, when we were doing MySQL, there are some data when we were doing natural join and all of that. We noticed that in some, two tables, different tables, there are some where in their rows they complete the data, while some they did not complete the data. They have none. Do you get, sir? So in that situation, what can be done? How do we clean the data? How do we get to sure that the data is
Okay, just if it
perfect?
is in Excel, normally in Excel, you just double tap and change whatever information you want to change. But unfortunately, it's not the same in Power BI. You cannot just click and change, okay?
Okay.
What you do is you do replace. So there's a way Power BI handles null data. So
Okay.
most times, if you're supposed to have Tokyo here, but you don't have anything here, Power BI will just give it a null value. So what some
Yes.
persons do, what some analysts do is, because this information is not here, sometimes they just remove this rule entirely. They just, remove the rule because it is null. All right. So, but the thing is, if you remove the row, it's definitely going to affect the whole data because, for example, if you're now counting number of customers, count, that one has gone
It will
out.
not be completed.
It's not be
Yes.
complete, something like that. So what most persons do is to put a null, leave it at a null value. Power BI will just handle it as a null value. So you just have null here as null, as in null, nothing. But if you now know the data that is supposed to be here and you want to now put it, so what you simply do is just to click on that place. Then there's somewhere you have replace. Look at this replace value. You just click on it. Then it's going to pop up a dialog box that says, okay, this is Tokyo. What do you want to replace it with? For example, if it is null, you just put it and
Okay.
click OK. You can see that
Okay.
Tokyo is now null. And it's not going to just change only this Tokyo to null. It's going to go and change every Tokyo in this place to null. Anywhere you have Tokyo, it's going to
Okay.
become
Like
null.
in the other way around too, all where there is none, it will change them to that name that we replace with.
So now, if you now see that, okay, you've gotten the name, what should be here is Tokyo. What should be here
Yes,
is
sir.
certainly Tokyo. So the country, what is country? Okay, Japan. Everybody that bought from Japan, they are from Tokyo. So what you just did is simply the same thing, replace. So you just come here, it is null here, then you just replace it with Tokyo. And it's going to become Tokyo. So you just click OK, and that becomes Tokyo.
Okay. It's all right, sir.
Are you okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, but another thing you must notice that for every data type, you must be the same data type that you're replacing it with. For example, here that you have 104. If you want to replace 104, Power BI is very strict. You must be the same whole number. You must put maybe 105 here before you can replace, all right? If I try to put, let's say I want to put Tokyo now. Tokyo is a text, right? Tokyo
Yes.
is text. If I want to put it, it's already giving me warning. See the one in there, enter a number value. So you must put a number because the data type here is number. If I try, I can't even save it. I can't even continue because it must be a number. So, but when I put a number here now, it's going to accept it. I can click OK to replace this 104 to 1000. All right. So you must also pay attention to the data type, but it's not the same thing with text because text allows any kind of thing. If I want to change this Tokyo now to replace it with maybe a number, it's going to go through. I can replace it with anything because it's text, text and voucher accept both numbers, both characters, both whatever. All right.
Okay.
So I'll just close. I think this also answers Mr. Light's question, so we don't really need to go back to Light. Light, you're still raising your hand. Do you still have questions, sir? Mr. Light.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Mr. Light. Mr. Light.
Hello, sir. Okay. Sorry, you can go back to the Power Query so I can say what I want. I mean,
Is that Mr. Light talking?
yeah, it's Mr. Light talking.
Okay, so I'm back there. Did you see the other answer that we gave to Mr.
Yes, yes, yeah, I
Okay.
followed it.
Okay.
Now what I'm asking, just in that city column now, in
Yeah.
the city column, we have something like New York Metro,
Yeah.
and then we have something like uh, uh, San Jose. Now, my question is, when in case you have in case you have a data set that instead of having this New York Metro now under city, this metro or maybe York Metro moved from city to country, and then in country USA moved from country to the next column, and then by the end of the data now you now have like additional column that houses that very part of this thing that
So
led.
once you see that,
Now,
you already know that this is supposed to be New York, by New York Metro. But now you have it as New York Metro is here, US is down here, and it has created one additional column. So that additional column that it's created, it is only this column that is going to have figure in it or a letter or anything in it. The rest of the column will be null, 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 right? Because
yeah.
these other ones are correct. So automatically you already know this is supposed to be New York Metro. So you just come here and replace it. What you have here is New York. So you do a replace and put the metro. You come here and remove that metro that is here, delete it and replace it with US. And then you just, this is part of the cleaning. You clean it until you get to that last one. When you now get to the last one, you have already moved whatever is here to this proper place that it should be. Then you delete this column because it's useless.
Now this is where my question comes in now. What if this error like this has been happens maybe say 1,000 times in maybe a data that
So
has like
so
15,000?
once this,
Yeah.
this New York appeared several places, almost everywhere you have many places. So
New York and
once you do it for this first one, it will replicate in the other rest of them. All of them will fix automatically. Just like we changed Tokyo to null. Everywhere you have Tokyo here, change to null. You don't have to do them manually. So that is why I said a data analyst spent 80% of their time cleaning data. So if you have that and scattered all over your table, of course, you spend your time treating it one by one. Do you understand me? So if you saw for New York, then this Ho Chi Minh City, if it happens to that city is there, this is there, then you simply repeat the same thing here. All the Ho Chi Minh City in China, Tokyo, all of them will correct automatically. Then you've done two. You now come to maybe, of course, this New York is already fixed from that first one and all of that. Maybe here you are supposed to have Lagos, you have LAG and OS here and Nigeria here and all of that. You fix that as well. All the places you have Lagos, they will automatically fix and all that. So you spend your time actually in data cleaning. Sometimes you have some very, very, very dirty data. So it take you a lot of time to clean it and get it, good.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So we just close that again. So we are back here. Now, that brings us to our topic for today, which is data modeling. So to understand data model, let's come back to this particular data that we started with, this one. This is not the data. We're going to use the data tomorrow. I think this is the one we worked with. Okay. So I want to show you another thing. After the first rule, which says that every variable here must be the same, then the second rule is that to have a clean table, this table is so not clean. This table is so dirty, like the way you're seeing it. This table has customer. It's good thing you've done SQL. It's a very good thing. So you understand what I'm going to teach you here now. You have orders here. You have the order. You have the customer information here. And then you also have the product information. That is, you have the payment information here. It is very wrong. You cannot have all these things. Remember in your SQL, when you create a database, inside that database, you have different table. You have customers table, you have sales table, you have payment table, you have order table. So that any information you need, you don't have to go and start searching through the entire database. You just simply query. If you want to get the customer name, you simply query the customer table and select the particular thing you want to check. It makes the work easier and faster for you. So, but when you now have all your information clumped, they are so clumsy, all of them inside one table, it is very, very, very wrong. And Excel has about 10,000 rows, I think, or so. And imagine if you now have all this plenty data into that 10,000 rows. It's going to be crazy, man, if you want to do anything here. Okay, I think we have question. You haven't done SQL. Okay, no problem. You will do that. It's not a problem. So, what I'm trying to point out here is that this table that you're seeing here is not acceptable by standard. You cannot have here now we have like 3 different information in this one table. You have just like your family, you cannot come and mix 2 different families together. Imagine you are 4 in your family now, then another family is like 5 people, then the other family is like 8. Then the 3 families now begins to live in one house, in your house. Maybe there's a demolition in the street and your house is the only house that is spared. And because that other family is your church member and the other family is your friend, they now beg you, oh, Mr. Light, please, can we come and live in your house for some time? You now accept the 2 families. Your own four people in your family, the other 5, the other 8, the house is going to be so jam-packed and it's going to become uncomfortable and difficult. That is what is happening here. We have 3 families here. We have the order family, the customer family, and the products, that's the sales, the payment family. And it is so wrong. So now, order table, we are supposed to have a separate table that has everything about order. So we have order what? Order ID is going to be in that table. Order date is going to be in that table. I think the quantity that was ordered is going to be in that table. Then that's the order table. Then you're supposed to have another table that will contain the customer. It is called the customers table, which is going to be the customer name, the customer ID, the customer gender, the city, the country, just information about the customer. And that table is complete. Then you're going to have another table called the sales table, which is going to contain the products that was sold, the the product ID, of course, the selling price, just about money. So when you look at this table, you're just going to see money, said everything pertaining to sales and payments. It will even make your system to be running fast, like your storage system. Imagine if your company is storing their data in the cloud, and for you to access, like if you're using Microsoft Cloud or now, for you to access any information, they have to pay for time. So if you're now using a very clumsy table like this, for you to get any information you want, for example, if this table now is loaded like 10 million rows are all filled up, for you to query this table, you need to allow it to roll and roll and roll and find that thing. In fact, it will take Excel like 5 minutes to even locate any information here that you're searching for. But if you have them separated, it is going to be very easy to just, query the table. So now on, another rule of clean data is that we are going to separate this table and make sure that we, let's do that. Let's clean. So the first table we are going to have is what? The order table. No, it should be the customer table. So what should be in the customer table? We'll just come here and select everything that should be in the customer. Of course, we'll have the customer ID, right? We'll have the customer name, the customer city, the customer gender, and all that. That is it. That is all that should be there. Then we'll come here, we'll put it. Table 2, where is it? Okay, here. Then we'll put that information. Then we are supposed to have again the customer that places order. Okay, the next one should be the order table. Then the order table should contain the order ID, right? The order date, the product that was ordered. I think the quantity that was ordered. Yeah. Then we'll copy that. We'll come here and put it here. Then the last table that we should have is what? The payment table. Just call it payment table or sales table or whatever. Okay. I think sales will be easier. Sales table. Then we'll come here and get all the information that will be on the sales table. The product that was sold should be there. The selling price should be there. The cost price, the total selling price, profits. And that should be it. Then put it here. So this table now is clean. So let's just get few data, to populate this thing. Let's just get like 10 different data, country, fine. And let's just put it here and fine. Mr. Light. Hello, Mr. Light.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm just thinking that there should be additional table for
Okay.
product.
Product. This is the product order now. Order is the same thing as product.
No,
We
the
can
product,
rename
a table that lists the various products being sold um, in that store, whatever.
Okay,
Then the
that's
order will
fine.
now, yeah.
I think this should be either called product sales. This sales and product or payment is the same thing because we have the product here already, the product ID, which contains the product that was sold. Do you understand? I think you're right, but we can rename this sales now to product or payment or something like that because it contains the product was sold. If you want to create a table for it, the only item that will be there is just the product. See, to just be this thing. There's nothing else you can bring. So we'll just put it together with this one. Of course, if you want to know the price, okay, this is the selling price. Selling price of what? Of this product. Or if you see the quantity now, it's okay, quantity, what is the quantity for of this product? So it's directly related. I think we'll have quantity. Where do we have quantity? Quantity, okay. Okay, let's say we'll have, okay, quantity is here in the order because you want to know the order. This was ordered. How many quantity of it was ordered? Do you understand, Mr. Light? Okay, fine. So let's fill up this one. We'll have the order. We'll have the, okay, good. So we have the order, we'll have the order dates, we'll have the, so you can see, okay, order product quantity, let's just pick those information. We'll have the order, dates, we'll have the product and the quantity, right? Sorry, let's pick 10, the order dates, 10, the quantity. Sorry, let me see again. Okay, the quantity is there too. And then finally, we have this one, the product ID, the product table. And then we have the products. Yeah, Njoku, Mr. Njoku. Mr. Njoku, please unmute.
Okay, I've unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, like how do you pick out only a few values from this table? Because normally you can't just do it. Is there any short key or whatever?
Control, just press your control down and then choose all the things you want. Press down
Okay,
control and choose all the things you want.
okay, control, and then you move the mouse.
Yeah, just go and
All right.
pick whatever you want, and that's it.
All
I
right,
guess it's the
thank you.
same question, Mr. Light. Okay. So here is it. This one, do we know why this one is like this? I want a lady to tell us why. I know you know, right? So Abby Jamabo, is it a lady? Adenike, can you unmute? Adenike, are you there? Annie Joy, what's up? Are you there? Please unmute. Joy, can you unmute? Okay, so people are sleeping in this class. People are sleeping in this class. Okay, that's fine. So it's because there's not enough space. We just need to expand it. But we can see that there are so many of them. Okay, Mr. Ukoha, go ahead, unmute.
Okay, sir. You asked question why that column was
Yes,
yeah,
please.
it's because of the space. We just need.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. That's correct. So, and we can see other ones like this one. So instead of doing them one by one, I'll just come here and highlight everything and then just double click on any line here. It automatically adjusts for all of them. That's fine. It's a shortcut. I think, let me try to reduce the size. Can you still see the tables? Okay. I need to do it again. Okay. So fine. So we now have, this is now a clean table. It's very easy. Imagine if you're working with all these people that do census, is it INEC? If you're working with INEC, and they now tell you to collect the data of everybody in Nigeria, this is exactly what you have here. It means everybody, you'll be collecting everybody. Where are you from? What is your name? What is your age? You gather all those informations in one table or more. That table is going to be so large because, 200 million people. The table is going to be so large. Then I'll tell you to, find so person in your table. It's going to take you the whole day to find that person. Even if you try to search it, Excel will crash because it will be so big. Now, Excel is not the standard story. That's why you have SQL, because Excel cannot carry more than 10 million rows, all right? So imagine if you're working in Amazon. Each day, Amazon get over 10 million orders. So Excel is just, get dataset and all that. It's SQL that you can use because it has unlimited storage space. All right. So if you're working with INEC and now you now say ask to collect the information of everybody, as a data analyst, you cannot create one table and start putting everybody. So the ideal thing you can do is to, break it into pieces. At least you can start from states, creating different states, Kano, Kaduna, Enugu, Abuja, Lagos. We have 36 different tables. So that if they tell you to get us 3 boys from Lagos, you just go straight to your Lagos table and get 3 male from Lagos. It is easy for you. Instead of having one big table that contains everybody in Nigeria, that is going to be difficult to, work with. That is what we've done here. We've broken this table into just the way it should be. So if your manager comes down and tell you that, okay, get me this sales now, and who bought this sale that was made here, which day was it made? You now go to your order table, order day, and check the order dates. You see that this sale was made on 23rd of September 2015. He will now ask you who bought this thing. Give me the customer's information. You can now go to the customer's table and then get the customer's information. As easy as that. But there's still a problem here. There must be, because all these things, they come from one table, right? So there must be something that will be connecting all of them together. There must be a relationship. It's a must. You must have a relationship, right? And right now, there is no relationship. Let me keep this one here so that it's easy for us to move around. So there is no relationship here, I swear. That is where the keys come in. So here, because customer is related to what? Order. Is the customer that placed an order. There has to be a relationship between the customer's table and the order table. So it is called the keys. You have to put a key. So here you are going to have what? Inside this customer table, you are going to have order ID. Good. And inside this order table, you're going to have what? Customer ID. Just don't worry, you get used to all of these things, okay? Then here you're going to get, this is the sales ID, which is the product ID. You have your product ID here. So you can also have it here or have your order ID here that will connect to the product. So we can have, here we can even have the product ID as well. Product ID. And here you can also have the order ID, all right? Good. So now your table is connected. So here you're going to have something like, okay, let me change all these things so that it will be easy for us to work with. Okay, let's just change it to normal numbers. 1, 2, sorry. And just permit me to change it, okay? So that it will be easy instead of working with those long, this thing. Good. Let me also change this one to numbers, just normal numbers. So that it will tally. Can change this one to ABC. 1, 2. Please, do you people understand what I'm doing? So that if you have any challenge at any point, always call me back, okay? So we can leave the product ID like this, okay? So here we can have something like 2, 1, 1, maybe 2 again, 4, 5, 4, 1, 6, maybe 8. Then in the customer ID, you can have in the customer ID, you can have 2, 2, 1, 1. I should see, I already did all these things already here, but I wanted to do it again with you people so that you understand everything that I'm trying to say, so that I don't just do something and tell you. Okay, so just bear with me. Bear with me, okay? I'm just doing it so that you understand. Then the other ID, you have 2, 2, maybe 1. This one is changing it to dollar for us, but we don't want dollars. 1. Okay. So we just change it back to number, come to home, change it to, okay. So the product ID is just the same product here. Okay. So let's now begin to explain. Let me start with what we call primary key. Once you understand this thing, then that is it. You're good to go. You don't have any issue again. Foreign keys. Good. We're going to explain this context in detail. But let me explain everything here once again. So this is the customer's table, and these things are called the customer ID. Customer ID means like if it's in a company now, that's something they call staff ID or staff numbers. So most companies, when you come to work, nobody will call you your name. They'll just give you a tag, staff ID or staff number. So they know you with that staff, and no two staff can have the same staff number, right? So here is the ID, customer ID. It means that in the morning when they open this shop, this customer walked in. This is the first order that was placed that day. This is second order that was placed, third order, fourth order, fifth order, just like that. So it cannot repeat. If another new customer steps in and places another order, it will be what? 11. Okay, so this is for order ID. This is the first order that was placed, second order, third order, and all of that. And the same way, this is the product ID, the first product, second product, third product that was bought that day. All right. So now, if my manager walks into the office and tells me that, okay, we are, and gives me this order number and tell me this particular order now, I want you to give me all the information about this order. He just gave me this customer ID and nothing else. Just one. That's what he gave me. So I'm going to use this customer ID 1 and go into the database and bring out all the information. I'm going to bring up the date that transaction happened, the customer that bought that transaction, the name of the customer, the city of the customer, the details of that customer, the product that the customer bought, the amount that the customer bought it, the amount that we bought that product from the market, the amount that we sold it to the customer for, and then the profit that we made on that product, just with just this one information that the customer, the manager gave you. And how are you going to do that? He has given you 1 as your customer ID. So the first thing, you want to know which customer bought this thing. You now take this ID and go to the customer's table and check number 1. That was the first order that was placed that day. You now check, you've seen the customer name is a female from New York City in USA. All right. And then you trace it to order 2. You want to know which date did it happen? Which product did he buy? This is the order ID. It is 2. You now go to the order table and you're seeing it as order 2. It was bought on the 10th of November 2015. It was product 1 that she bought, and it was 6 pieces of that quantity, that product that they bought that day. Do you understand? Then that product, since it is product 1, you now go to the product table and see product 1. That product 1 cost, the selling price is 18 naira, $18. And what we bought it was $10. So how much we made as a profit was actually $8 that we made. But because of selling price and cost price, it has been multiplied, and it has been multiplied by a quantity. So we made $8 from each. But remember, the customer bought how many? 6 pieces. So it is $8 times 6 that gave us this 46. Please, are you guys following this class, or I don't understand? Are you guys following? Good, yes. Yes, it could be other numbers, student matriculation number, they're all the same, okay? Yeah, you're following. That's great. So that brings us to, if you now understand what we have done here, that brings us to what is called foreign key, primary key. Let's start with primary key. So primary key is like, let's say in your family now, your family, if your family surname is maybe Adekunle, that is your primary key. Like you're the primary key, you're a member of that family. in that family. You're a primary key in your family, okay? So if you come to this table, the primary keys, number one feature of a primary key is that they are unique. A primary key can never repeat in a table. It can never repeat. It is unique. So one, this one here, we can never see one again here for the rest of the day until they close this particular sheet and open a new sheet, maybe the next day. Just like receipt number, if you have a receipt, the receipt number can, even if you have 100 sheets in that receipt, it can never repeat until that receipt finish and you open a new receipt. So the customer ID, just know that whenever you hear primary key, the next thing that should come to your mind is unique, distinct. It is distinct. It cannot repeat. It is unique. So this table, you have the customer ID and you have the primary ID. So how to know which of them, because this is ID and this is ID, which of them is primary key, is that the primary key does not repeat. So one is only one here. It is a unique identifier in a table. But for this other ID, you can see that one repeated. So now let me explain why it repeated. It's because this, now the customer ID means this one customer, this Mr. Linston, came here to buy this thing once. We recorded that once. So this Mr. Lindsay, whatever, Fagan, can actually buy as many times. They can even go and come back and buy again. But each time they come, they are still Mr. Lindsay. This Lindsay, let me use name that is easy, please. Debbie. Let's use this number 5, please. So Debbie can come as many times as they want in the day or in the month, but they will still remain Debbie. It's just like you going to the hospital. What the first thing they will tell you to do is to go and buy form or card. They call it card, right? You go and buy card. So if you like, come to that hospital 100 times in a year, you always come with your card so that they will now know that it is you. They will identify you. So that your card is like your primary key. It doesn't change until that particular card fills up. Once it fills up, they'll give you another card that will continue from where the other one stops. They're not going to give you a new card. It's just going to be a continuation or a renewal. All right. So primary key means that it is this one customer. Even if this person is a regular customer, whenever they come, their primary key is their primary key. We already know that it's number 5. So anywhere we see number 5, we already know it's Debbie, even if it appears 100 times here. So if we come here and we now see 1, 1, 1, 3 times, and this is other table, other ID. So what it means that number 1 ID customer is this lady here, this Lindsay. All right. So this Lindsay means that Lindsay plays this order, she plays this one again. So anywhere we see 1 here, we know that, oh, it is Lindsay's order. Anywhere we see 1, it's Lindsay's order. All right. So that's what it means, primary key. So in a table, you can have primary key and secondary key in one table. How do you differentiate them? The primary key is unique, while the the foreign key is not unique. So when we get to relationship, you're going to see how these things work. We'll have the fact table and the dimension table. The fact table is same thing as transaction table. Transaction means something that keep happening. So this person can keep buying stuff. He can keep buying different things. Maybe they can buy chocolate, they can buy sugar, they can buy biscuits, they can buy different things. Each of them will be coming as an order because she's placing different orders. So they are coming as different orders, but the same customer name, the same customer ID. Now, the customer can change. Another customer can walk in and have the same exact name, surname, and first name. But you now differentiate them with the unique ID because their ID will change. That person is now a new customer. Of course, their this thing will change, their customer ID. So that's what you use to identify it. Now, let's come to the order table. You can see that in the order table, it is the same thing. This is the first order that was placed, second order that was placed, third order that was placed, and it is unique. But here now, customer is now what? Let me now explain foreign key. Foreign key is the opposite of primary key. Foreign key, let me use a simple language. Let's say you're working in a bank. In that your branch, if you're working in Access Bank and you live in Lagos in Aja, that your Lagos branch where you work, you're a primary key there. It is only you. If you have a staff Access Bank staff ID, if your ID is ID 1, that is your staff number 1. It is only you that have it. They cannot give two people the same number. So you're a primary key in that Access Bank Aja branch. Now, let's say they now have a conference in Abuja, and the Aja branch wants you, every Access Bank branch in Lagos have to send a delegate, and they now send you to go and represent them in Abuja. In Access Bank Aja branch, you're a primary key there. But when you now come to Abuja, you're now a foreign key because you're representing your bank in this other table. That is the table in Abuja, the branch in Abuja. Your bank can send as many people. Are you with us, please? Okay. So your bank can send up to 3 delegates. They can send up to 4 people. So in the bank, there are 4 of them. Now, in the bank in Aja in Lagos, in Access Bank in Aja in Lagos, if they are sending 5 people to go and represent them in Abuja, in Aja, remember in Aja in Lagos, they all have their different staff ID, which is 1. Each of them are unique. So in Aja, the 5 of them are 5 different primary keys in Aja. But when they come to Abuja, they are going to be they are going to be foreign key, and they will now say, we want to see all the people that are coming from Aja branch. The 5 of them will stand up as one entity. They will recognize them as one entity. So there are 5 different primary keys in Aja, but in Abuja, they are 1. Maybe, let's say now in Abuja now, they now say, okay, everybody coming from Access Bank will have 1 tag, maybe their number. They now name them maybe number 4. All of them will carry that 444, so that at a glance, see every person you see that has 4 is from what? Aja Lagos branch. So all of them will have the same tag. That's why you have the repetition of this here. Repetition of these, all of them. But when you look at them, they are all from the same place. They are the same place. So let's use another example. If in your family you have 4 kids, all of them are boys. In your family, that's your family name, they are primary keys in your family. Then when they now begin to grow, the other one say he wants to go and study in Canada, the other one wants to go to the US, the other one wants to go to Australia, and then the last one wants to go to Sweden to go and study. They have now traveled. All those places they went to, they are foreigners in those cities, right? But back home, they are one family. But outside, they are foreigners scattered all over. But the good thing is that wherever they go, they have their family name. They have their family name, which is one name. If the family name is maybe Olalekun, so all of them are bearing that one name. Anywhere they are, they're representing that one family. I don't know how else to explain this, but I believe you guys understand the concept of foreign key and primary key. So primary key is unique in a table, while foreign key is used to represent another table in a table. All right. So primary key represents another table in a table. So in a table, how do you know which one is primary key and secondary key when you have different orders? When you have different IDs. Number 1, like I mentioned, is that the one that is the primary key will be unique, while the secondary key can repeat. There can be duplicates. That's number 1. And another number 2 that we can easily say from this table is that the one that is the primary key will have the table name. Since this is the customer table, you can see that customer ID is the primary key. Since this is the other table, you can see that the other ID is the primary key. And since this is the sales table or the product table, you can see that the product is the product key, is the primary key. This is not always the same, Sha. Sometimes the name might change, but this is one way of, since you're just starting, I'm just trying to find a way to fix it into your head so that you get used to the concept. All right. So that is just the easy way to know it. So now, because this table is supposed to be one table that has everything, but because of storage, we need to split them into like this. There must have to be a relationship, something that's relating them. No matter where your 4 boys travel to, if they like, let them travel to China or anywhere. Wherever they go to, there is something related, bringing them back to the family, connecting them back to the family, which is the family name, the blood. That is that family name they have. That is the relationship they have with home and with all other of their family member in different part of the world as well. All right. So the same thing here. For these tables now to work together, there must be a relationship. And what is relating them are these keys. You can see that in this customer table, you have the other table, other ID that is representing the other table in the customer's ID. So this is like the board meeting I'm talking about with Access Bank. So this is another branch, but there's a executive meeting going on. So this branch now sent these people to go and represent them in this meeting. And maybe there's another meeting going on here. You can clearly see that the customer table also sent customer ID here to go and represent them in this table. And if there is another meeting going on here, the other table has sent delegates to go and represent them as here, other ID here. That is the relationship. All right. So I have 3 accounts in one bank: current, corporate, and which is primary key and foreign key. Okay, you have 3 accounts in one bank. Now you are the primary key. You are the primary key, the owner of those 3 accounts. The 3 accounts belongs to you. All right. Attendance form. Okay. So the 3 account belongs to you. You are the owner of the 3 accounts. So they all have your name. They all have your name. Okay. So it is you that owns them. You are the primary key, and those accounts are foreign keys. Anyway, we can't even use that to, cite an example because it is just you, one you. It is just one you. It is the bank now that will. I think we understand this thing very well. So the relationship here is that they are both related now. So when you move this data, these 3 tables to Power BI, when you move these 3 tables to Power BI, they are going to be automatically related. Power BI will now identify this thing and link them, 3 of them together. Because if you don't link them together, you will not be able to perform any calculation. You can't even perform any analysis on them. So the relationship is that this one is related to this one. Customer is related to customer table here. And then other table, see, this is other table is related to this other table. So we can clearly see that these 3 tables are related. Clearly. Now let's now do a real-time, let's look at a real-time data set. Look at this data set. Can you see this new data set? Let me move this thing a bit. Okay. So look at this data set. It has, this is a store. This is a store. This store now we have 3 sheets here. The Apocalypse store. Are you all seeing the Apocalypse store? We have the Apocalypse sales and then the customer information. This is the main table. It is the fact table that has different transactions. But now let's start from the customers table. This company has only 4 customers that are patronizing them. I guess they are a distributor or a wholesale company. Then these are retail stores that patronize them. You have Uncle Joe's Prep, you have Alex the analyst, you have Apocalypse Prep, and then you have the Prep for Anything prepping store. These 4 stores are the only 4 stores patronizing them for the meantime. But if you come to the sales table, you can see that they are making so many sales. But if you now look deep, you are going to see that they are just those 4 stores representing them. You can see Uncle Joe, you can see Alex, you can see Apocalypse, you can see Prep, you can see Uncle Joe again, Alex, Apocalypse, Prep, Uncle Joe again, Alex. So these people, they keep buying, they keep coming back to buy again, buy again, buy again. Do you understand? So in this customers table, these customers are what primary keys because they did not appear more than once. Uncle Joe appeared only once here. But if you now come here in the customers, you now see that Uncle Joe appeared countless times. Each of them, Alex, appeared countless times. Because of that, here, the customers table here, customers column here is the what? Foreign key. All right, this is the main table. The customers table is representing. So we have the customer ID. The customer ID, of course, is the same thing. It did not repeat. It's just for this, the 4 customers. But if you now come here and check the customer ID here, you can see it's a repetition. This 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3 again. This is 1, 2, 3 again. This is 1, 2, 3. Anywhere you see 1, 2, 3, you know it is Uncle Joe's store, right? Anywhere you see 1, 2, 3, it is repeating. So here, customers ID is what? Foreign key. But in the customers table, customers ID is primary key. Then let's go to the store. So this is the store. These are the products that they have. These are the products they have. They have nylon rolls, waterproof, and all of these things. These are the prices of the product and all that. So the product key here is foreign key. It's primary key. It's not repeating. It's just the same thing. It's not repeating, right? Then let's come to the store. You can see the product ID. The product ID here is repeating 1006. You can come down here and see 1006 again. You can come down here and see 1006 again. So once you see 1006, what you do, you go to the store table and you can see that 1006 belongs to what? Solar battery. This is the product name that owns this one. So wherever you see 1006, you know that the person bought solar battery. If you come down here again and see 1006, you know that the person bought. So it's always Uncle Joe that is buying solar battery. See, Uncle Joe is always the one buying solar battery. Let's check again. 1006. 1006. Okay, this time around, Prep Store bought solar battery. So you can see the way you're interpreting the data set that you've been given, right? So it is pretty much the same thing. So these tables are well organized, very well organized. So in the sales table, this is the sales table. In the sales table now, order, see the order. Order is the primary key here. The order placed because no repetition. This is the first order that was placed that day, and it was placed by Alex. Sorry, let's go up. Sorry. This is the first order that was placed. It was placed by Uncle Joe, and the product was this, the 1006. If you now come to the store table, that product is what? Solar battery, and this is the price and everything. So in the sales table, the primary key is what? The order ID, the orders placed. Each of these people placed order. Then in this sales table, this is the transaction table. The product ID is a foreign key here. The customer ID is a foreign key here, but the order table is a primary key here. In the customers table, the customer's ID is a primary key, and there is no secondary, there's no foreign key here. There's no foreign key. In the stores table, the product ID is a primary key, and there is no foreign key here. So this is where you have the foreign key. When you move this thing to Power BI now, Power BI is going to connect the information, the customer information to the stores sales table, and also connect the Apocalypse stores this thing to the sales table. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So the order table here is the primary key. Number one is because it doesn't have any repetition. It is unique. It is distinct. All right. But if you see the order table now, you can see repetition. That's a duplicate. 106 has been duplicated here. Can you see that 105 has been duplicated here? So it cannot be a primary key. Let's now try the customer table. 123 is here. Okay. There's another 123 here. There's another 123 here. Automatically, it cannot be the primary key. Now let's try the other ID. 1904 is here. Let's see if we can have 1904 again. Never. We can never see another 1904 here. So automatically, this is the primary key. So all the relationship of these three data sets are all in this place. This is where they did their, unlike the other one that we did by ourselves, this one that we did, if you come here, you can see this one, customer ID is related to customer ID here. Other ID is related to other ID here. Here in this one, customer ID and other ID is related to the other ID here. So these three tables are linked to each other. Like you can do your connection from here to here, one to one here. Okay. I think we may not even be able to do the data modeling today because of once you understand this now, I'm going to be okay because it's going to now make it easy for us when we get to Power BI, maybe tomorrow. It will not be easy for us. It will be easy to explain the data modeling well because we have different kind of connection. We have the star connection, the one-to-one, the one-to-many, the many-to-many, and then many-to-one, and all of that. So it's basically everything that I've done here in Excel. But when we now move it to Power BI, maybe I can just show you briefly, but we won't be able to already. This is already 10 p.m. All right. So let me see question. This is okay. That's great. So sure. You can get the replay, of course. You get the replay today. So that's just the basic thing here. So that's the basic thing. Can we take questions? Or okay, let me load this data so that you just have a brief something to think about, to imagine till we're able to explain it properly tomorrow. All right. So I'll just come here. So the good thing about Power BI is that even while this one is here, you can still launch another instance of this Power BI. Of course, now it will be sent. Okay. So let's define it so that it's good we define it. So primary key is in the simplest term that is easy to understand and to cram in case you're the kind of person that cram. Primary key is a unique identifier in a table. It's as easy as that. Thank you. That's it. Primary keys are unique, not even are because they don't repeat, you cannot duplicate it. So is a primary key is a unique identifier in a table, or the distinct column in a table. Unique identifier in a table. I think when we begin to do analysis on Power BI, you get used to all those counts. When you're doing counts, you have distinct count and the normal count. So distinct count is going to the same thing as unique. It's going to give you the unique value without repetition. While the normal count is just going to count everything and even probably give you repetitions. Okay. So primary key are unique identifiers in a table, while foreign keys are used to create relationship between tables. Foreign keys are used to create relationship between tables, or foreign keys is a key in a table that represents another table. I think that's kind of more in a layman's term, that's kind of more explanatory. A foreign key is a key in a table that represents or refers to another table. No, that represents another table, something like that in a table. So let's conclude with this. In Power BI now, even though I already have this data set loaded here and I'm working on it, I can launch another instance of the Power BI. I can launch another Power BI, and I can be working on multiple projects. I just come to File, and then I just go to Open, and then okay, these are my saved files. No, I'll go to Get Data. Sorry, I click on Excel. I can now load another data. Let me see if I have, okay, cookies. Let me see cookies. So I am not loading this as one table. All right. I've separated them into different tables, but this is that other table. This is, okay, I did not use the data set, but it's still the same thing. This is the cookies type, that is the product. This is the customers table, and this is the other table. So you cannot load them together. You have to load them one by one. So I'm going to load them one by one. I'll click the first one and then open. It's going to launch another Power BI to load that. Then I'm just going to choose this and then load it. I don't want to transform it. Let me just load it straight up. Oh, okay. No, I added it here on this one. No, I don't want it here. Let me go back. Okay, if I want to import, okay, just click on blank sheet to launch a new instance of Power BI. So it's going to launch another Power BI while this one is still there. If you load it, it's going to add it to this one. So this is that I think now we've automatically know how to add another table to your table. Maybe you were working on a table and you needed to import another table. You just bring it into Power BI to start afresh. So I now have 2 instances of Power BI opened. I can have as many as I want, So I just go to get data, click on Excel, send. And then I'm going to load, we are going to load those data one by those different tables one by one. So all these tables you're seeing is the same thing like in Excel table. You can different sheets inside one workbook. All right. So it's same thing here. Let's allow that one to load first. So it has loaded. Okay, sorry, I need to select it. Then I'll click on load to load it. Okay. Foreign keys are used to represent each other. No, it's just to represent a table in another table so that it will be more professional. You, so that you need to start speaking like a data analyst. I'll load the second one. Guys, data analysis is a very beautiful thing to be. Like in US right now, in Canada, in all of these Taiwan countries, as a data analyst, you're earning nothing less than $40 to $80 per hour. In fact, I have a particular company now that is hiring data analysis, and what they are paying is $41 per hour if you're a Nigerian. Those companies, they like hiring people from third world countries, Nigeria, Philippines, India, because they are, in US, they have minimum wage or something like that. So someone you're supposed to be paying, an analyst that you're supposed to be paying something like $80 per hour in US, if you hire them from Nigeria or all these third world countries, you can pay them 30, 20, $40 per hour, half of what you're supposed to pay someone in the US. So they like hiring these companies, they want you, like they need you badly because they want to save costs. All right. So if you pay attention to this thing and learn it well, man, this thing will change your life magically. Like magically. You'll be so shocked. You won't even know how. Listen, imagine earning $41 per hour or even $50 per hour in Nigeria. If you decide that you don't want to travel, you don't want to japa, you want to be in Nigeria and be working as a data analyst remotely, there are millions of jobs every day. You have to know SQL and Python. So now we've imported these 3 data. So let's go straight to the model view and see what happens. So you see, Power BI has tried to create a relationship between the 3 tables, right? So, but it couldn't detect the relationship between this table and this one, but it created this one. So if you click on this thing, it's going to show you how it's connected it. It's used the customer ID to connect to this customer ID. So let me delete it so that we'll do it by ourselves. So in case Power BI doesn't connect for you, you have to connect it. So you can expand the table to see more information inside. There are no more informations here. So these are just those 3 columns. So it's left for you to already know the content of your table. you now know that this if we try to do anything here, let me go and do anything. For example, if I want to find, let me bring out a table. If I want to, let me even bring out the bar chart. Sorry. Let me bring out the bar chart. If I want to get, sorry, just follow through. We're going to do this one. If I want to get the customer's order, now I want to get the total revenue. We want to get the total revenue that we got from a particular country. So if I click here, it's going to give me the list of all the countries that we have. The list of all the countries we have. It's still loading it. Why is it taking time? You see, it's not even working because there's no relationship, but this is actually supposed to load. Okay, yeah, country, suppose it's now waiting for me to give it a value. So let me say I want to get all the revenue that we made from a particular country. You see, it is just going to give me one because there's no relationship between them. There's no relationship. So if I want to get by city or even by states, you see, it has given me all the states. These are the different states, but there's no relationship. They are not seeing each other. Okay. Let's just get this done. I think we are rounding off already. We are still going to repeat this part from this part. I just wanted you to understand that relationship, the foreign key and secondary key, foreign key and primary key. So this part, I'm just trying to, show you what we're going to be doing tomorrow so that you have it in mind. So there's no relationship between these tables that I'm trying to work with. That's why you have everything to be equal, which is, of course, not possible. So if you're a data analyst now, for example, and then you want to get the total revenue that we made from each state, all the states that are here, each state you want to see the total revenue we made from each of these states. Of course, you can see with this card now, let me show you. With card, you can see the total revenue you made. We generated the sum of 4.69 million. That's the total revenue we made. But we now want to see that total revenue by state, each state, so that we can see how much we made in New York, how much we made in New Jersey, how much we made in this, and all of that. Because there's no relationship, this is not going to work. So let's now go and create a relationship. We know that this other table is connected to the customer table through what? The customer ID. So I'll just drag this customer ID and put here and then confirm. Now this is called the relationship. So there's something we'll call one to many, many to many, many to one, and one to one. We're going to treat that tomorrow. And I'll just click on save. Yes, because this one is many to one. It means many to one. It means that there are so many orders that can be played. You can have so many customer ID. So this shows you star. This star shows many. It means there are many customer IDs here, which means inside this table, customer ID is what? A foreign key, because there are so many customer IDs. But inside this customer table, customer ID is just one, which means it is primary key here. Then let's also look for a relationship between the cookies type and the customer. Cookies type and customer. I think that cannot be a relationship. It has to be the other table. So let me bring this one here. There can be cookie because a customer has to, this is like the product, this is the order, and this is the customer. So customer cannot have a relationship with the product until they place an order. You have to make an order before you now get what you paid for, right? So there can only be a relationship between the customer table and the order table, and then the product table and the order table. So this relationship can be created from the cookie type, and then here, products. So you carry cookie type and put products here, and then click on OK. Now we have created a relationship between this table. Let's now go back and see what has happened. You can now see that it has fixed that thing. We can see that in this state, we made the sale close to 1.5 million. Here we made a sale. In New York City, we made a sale of $1.1 million. Here in UT, we made a sale of 900 and something thousand. In AL, we made a sale of 725,000, and here we made the least sale. So you can easily know that this is the country that is giving you, the state that is giving you the highest sales. So you may want to open several branches, do promo in this state. This is like your favorite, your VIP state, your favorite state. Then this place now, you can now recommend to your company as a manager, as a data analyst, that okay, this state is giving us the least sale. What can we do? What is causing it? Is it that our location in that place is not in the center of the town, it's not in the town hall, in the, what is it called, in the center of the town? Or is it that we are not making good? We now consider what is causing it. Is it that we don't have quality products? Is it that the people don't like our products? Is it that we're not doing enough marketing? Something, they now begin to find what to do to improve sales here, something like that. So that is what relationship does. And it's already 10 p.m. We're just going to, end here till tomorrow again. So we can take questions now. I didn't plug my laptop. So let's take questions, please. We're going to stop here. If you have questions, just raise up your hands. I'm going to call you. Olua, yeah, unmute, please. Mr. Olua, say.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
In fact, you have been very wonderful. We really appreciate you, sir. God bless. Now, I just want to ask if I am correct in my observation. The connection of the table that you just did, is it the same thing as, in Tableau, when you drag these tables to either column or rows? For instance, if you want to get the revenue per state, in Tableau, if you drag the revenue and the state, on rows, for instance, it will give you for only a state.
No,
But if you
that is, it's the same thing both in Tableau and in Power BI. Same thing. What you're talking about is reports. When you're building your reports, your dashboard.
yes,
Oh,
the one of
no,
yes.
no, that's visualization. It's not, it has nothing to do. This is data modeling. This is the creating relationship. We'll still repeat this particular thing we've done. We'll do it in detail tomorrow so that you understand what we did. It has nothing to do with, in fact, your report, building your reports is dependent on this thing, this relationship. If your relationship is wrong, just like you saw what we did here, if relationship is
Yes.
not established, there's nothing you're doing here that will work. Nothing. You're just wasting your time. That relationship is the bedrock of your report.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So please, we need more questions. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Okoha. Or mute, please.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Oh, Mrs. Adaku. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir.
All right.
Okay, from my observation, it's like you must study the tables first before you'll be able to create before you'll be able to relate before you'll be able to do your modeling. Because when you join the was it
Cookies
costs
type
and the
and
products?
okay.
Yes. I was thinking, how does the two relate? So, the time you were trying to bring up the modeling stuff, that you joined the cost ID and was it cost ID and the product, that's under order ID. You picked product, so you merged, you related the two. So I was like, I didn't see the relationship between cost and the product. So does that mean I must have gotten used to my table before I will relate the two?
So if you notice, since we started here, everything we did, before I do anything, I go back to Excel. Before I imported any table, I always open it in Excel. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So that is exactly how it works. Before you bring up because Power BI, like imagine you're not even seeing the tables here, you're just seeing the columns. Before you do anything, you must have opened your Excel file to go through the file, course, data set, and understand what, there's something they call KPI. There's something they call KPI. When we start doing reports, you're going to get used to your KPI very well. So you need to understand the data set first. There are some data set they will give you. There's no clue, no information. It is just through studying the data set in Excel that you'll be able to now know, okay, this data set is a HR data set, or is a sales data set, is this kind of company data set, is from a hospital, is from a store or something. Then you now understand what you're supposed to do and all that. So you must study your data. Whatever data, that's why I said the data set that's going to be giving you has to be an Excel file. Even if you're bringing it from SQL, you're going to download it as an SQL, Excel file, or CSV file. And Excel can also open your CSV file and you can always check it. So before you bring your data to Power BI, you must have opened your data sets in Excel to see everything. All right. Okay. 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 Then I think you guys pretty understand everything. I think. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. I don't know whether other persons have questions to ask, but if there is no other question or anything you want to tell us, I just wish to give votes of thanks. So that's you muted all of us. So if there's no other question or any other thing you have to tell us, on behalf of the class, we wish to say thank you. Thank you so much. Our lecturer, I think he has been logged out, maybe network stuff, but he informed me to do so.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so that would be all for now. In the absence of any other questions, I think we'll just call it a night. It's been wonderful
Recorded
having
vision now.
all of you here. So I don't know when next we're meeting. If it is tomorrow, I'm going to relate to him and know when next is going to be. All right.